Corey here with the Mentored Engineer, and I'm excited because we are going to combine two of my favorite things. All right, we are going to talk about coasters and which ones are my favorites and why. But we're gonna do it by using decision-making techniques. All right, there's a lot of coasters out there. What makes one better than another? There's different factors. So we're gonna quantify the unquantifiable. How much do I like it, right? Sounds easy, but it's not. So for a long time, I just had a random thought of, what are my top 5, maybe top 10 coasters, but I had nothing really to quantify them and actually put them in order. But that changed recently when somebody asked me what my top 5 were, and I kind of fumbled through it and I gave out some of them. Some of them actually aren't even in my top 20. The question is, Corey, is there a way that we can quantify stuff like this that doesn't really have defined parameters? It's how much do I like it? Well, yes, you can. And it is a process that can be used for just about any type of decision or rankings that you need to make. So the way this works is you're gonna give a ranking for different categories of the ride in this case. So for me, I picked 5 categories: intensity, theming, smoothness, the weight, and a wow factor. Was it just great, or did it leave me wanting more? You can pick as many or as few categories as you would like. You can also define what a ranking within that category means. So then what you'll do is you'll rank each coaster in each category. So in my case, I'm gonna have 5 rankings for every coaster. And I'm gonna go from 0 being the worst and 10 being the best. So 0 being like the Great Pumpkin Coaster, King's Dominion, and the best being Steel Vengeance, all right? And I'm gonna give those rankings from 0 to 10. I am not gonna use anything but an integer, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not 2.2 or 9.6. Can't go above 10, there's no 11 on this scale. All right, I'm gonna do that for each one. At this point, I'm gonna give each category a percentage weight. You can see mine here. All right, they all have to add up to 100%. If they don't, you did something wrong and you gotta either bring one up or pull another one down so that you get 100%. This is part of the decision-making thing. And you can flip these around if something, you thought it meant more, but it doesn't. For me, that was the wait time. It kicked a lot of rides out when I had it at 10%. So I dropped it to 5%, and that brought my top 20 back into the line where I thought it should be. So after that, you'll take each coaster's individual category rank times the percentage that you assigned. All right, so in this case, the first one, we get a 10 times 55%, that's 550. We're gonna do that for each category on each coaster, and then we're gonna add those together. Coaster A, we get 550, 8, 99, 10, and 200. So we'll add all those together and get 867. It's like a batting average then. So this method is called the matrix method, and it wasn't developed for ranking roller coasters, okay? It's one of the things it can do. You can pretty much use this, put in any categories for any decision you're making, any options of different things you're wanting to pursue, and you can use the same thing and it'll tell you which one is most likely and which one is least likely. Now, one final thing, it doesn't make the decisions for you. You still got to use your brain to make the final judgment, but it does help you get close. Okay, so the 5 categories that I chose, why did I choose them? Well, 1, I like intensity, right? Everybody's probably thinking of I-305. Yes, it's in here. That is an intense coaster, but that's not everything. I will say that every coaster that makes my top 20 is a 10 in intensity. Theming is one of the things that has really, pushed up my list to really break the ties between things. Is it built on a parking lot? Is it built into this terrain? Is it just, there's cool animations? So the next thing is smoothness. Now you're probably saying, okay, how do you compare a steel coaster with a wooden coaster? Well, for me, the woods have a different scale. Like, I'm thinking, is it free from jackhammering? Is it fairly smooth? So to combat this, a wooden coaster that's smooth ranks either a 9 or a 10. and then they drop off fairly quickly after that. Next is the biggest heartbreaker, right? This really separated the men from the boys. When I go to an amusement park, I want to ride the rides. I don't get the fast pass. I always go on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday so that the lines are low. So if you go on a weekend, get a fast pass, okay? But at the same time, I shouldn't be waiting for everything forever, which is why I don't like Cedar Point. Crap, I said that. Yeah, Cedar Point, it seems everything is an hour. So also included in the weight category is how much it breaks down, okay? So a ride like Valraven, when I get up to the front of the line 3 times and then it has a maintenance issue, you're going to the bottom of the list. That's a 0 in my book because I wasted an hour in line and then you break down. I don't like that, okay? So you go to the bottom of the list. And finally, the wow factor. That's totally subjective, but it's only 25%. So I've minimized, my personal preference on a ride. Did I like it? Was it cool? Did I ride it at night? Was it a sunset? Was it early in the morning and kind of slow? All of those things will factor into that one, and I'm keeping that percentage as small as I can. So before I get to the countdown, you've got this cool skill that you can use on everything now. Please take a second to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in nerdy coaster stuff like this or engineering stuff, please scroll down and join today to become a member. Just click that join button right next to, it's right there next to the subscribe button. Can't miss it. All right, let's get on to the countdown. All right, so number 20 is Orion up at Kings Island. This thing is awesome. B&M Hyper Coaster, or whatever, Orion 287 they call it. This thing is phenomenal, intense, not as wowy as I want it to be. I wish it had a little bit more. You get the wave turn, you get the turnaround. Great ride, number 20. Coming in at number 19 is King to Ka up at Six Flags Great Adventure. Woo, man, this thing is spectacular. The launch in this thing, I'd say equal to Top Thrill. The reason that Top Thrill would be higher than this is because it has lap bars. Because when you get off this thing, man, your shoulders hurt. But man, looking down this drop right here as you're going down, it is insane. 456 feet up in the air. Great ride. Number 19 there. So coming in at number 19 is an underdog, Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags over Georgia. RMC conversion from Cyclone. It's short, and that makes it lower on this chart than it probably could have been. They did the best they had with what was there, but a lot of great stuff on this turnaround. I love this head chopper right at the beginning, especially in the back row. And then you got 3 inversions on this. Man, it is a good, short, sweet, intense ride. Love it. Maverick at Cedar Point. What a great ride this is. You got the LSMs. First ride I ever went on with LSMs. Man, spectacular. You get the 95-degree drop. Was it 3 inversions? The 70-mile-an-hour launch, the airtime hills, the whippy turns. Man, great ride. Got to get out there and ride this. Man, number 16, Top Throw Dragster. Man, look at that launch. That thing is spectacular. Was it 120 miles an hour up to 420 feet? 17-second ride. So that's the biggest downfall. That's why this isn't higher up on the list. And you have to wait a while to do it. Man, what a ride. I mean, Intamin really took out all the stops here and made this spectacular. I love the hydraulic launch system. In fact, my Tilly's Terror coaster is going to have the same type of launch system on, except it's just going to be a DC motor driven because it's much smaller scale. Cracking in here at number 15 is the Beast up at Kings Island. Whoop whoop! Man, that thing is not that great on paper. Other than it's really long, it's just not impressive until you actually ride it. The thing about it is, the ride is just so great. And now that they've retracted in 2023, that thing is super smooth. There's no jackhammering. The one thing that makes it great is the night rides. And I finally got a night ride on this year, and it was spectacular. Oh my gosh, that was worth it. The fact that this ride has been around this long and is this long is great. And I love that they've changed the block zones so that you have a slower lift on the way up to let that second coaster clear. That way you kind of at least see them when you go by. Now coming off the second lift hill here, it's a shallow drop. You're kind of like, what the heck is going on? And then they bank you. Man, it's just creepy, especially at night. And then you go into the helix, and the helix is just phenomenal. The train is screeching because it doesn't steer. It's not a steering train. So you just hear this the whole time, and it is phenomenally fast. It is smooth now, and it is just something to be desired for all time. Now, number 14 here is Thunderhead up at Dollywood. Now, if you can't tell, I'm a fan of Woodies, or RMC Woodies, and this one is phenomenal. I got my first ride on it in 2021, and it is just great. It's intense, it's quick, it's smooth. I mean, it could be a little bit smoother in spots, but great. But the thing that caught me on this was what you're gonna see here, and that is the station fly-through. This is the first time I've ever seen it. Blew me away. Especially standing in line, you could actually see the structure move. Man, that really did it for me. That was the wow factor. That was the theming aspect of this ride. Coming in at number 13 is Afterburn at Carowin. This B&M invert is probably my favorite invert. Banshee would be next. It's smooth, it's great. I love this ride, especially when you sit in the front row. It really pushes you out of the seat in the vertical loop and the Batwing. I love the setting of this. They dug out into the ground, so there's theming points there. Just spectacular. And the one thing I love is the corkscrew at the end of the ride here. Number 12, Phantom's Revenge. Man, this thing was great. I got like 8 rides in a row without getting off the train. It was a rainy day. There was nobody there. Oh man, this thing is spectacular. The dive through Thunderbolt right here, phenomenal. All the airtime. Man, Morgan really did a great job with this one. Got to get out to Kennywood and ride this. It is hard to stick your hands up when you're going through Thunderbolt there. Try to do it. I know I'm not going to touch anything, but man, I want to pull my hands down every time. Spectacular ride. Go ride it. Number 11 here, Montezumas Revenge. I love this coaster. It's my first launch coaster, my first looping coaster, and my first shuttle coaster. So Knott's Berry Farm was my home park, and I used to ride this all the time. So more for sentimental reasons that this one ranks so high, but still a good ride. Oh man. Especially in the back row going up that reverse spike, man, I get butterflies every time. I think it's awesome. Breaking in the top 10 is Full Throttle over at Six Flags Magic Mountain. Man, that loop of just hanging up there, man, you're like, woo, am I gonna get through that? Oh yeah, I did. Phenomenal ride. I mean, you got the inversions, you got the launches, you got the reverse launches. The biggest detractor here is it's just so short. Oh man, if they could have made that a little bit longer. Now I want to rank this one higher, but Lightning Rod, number 9, good spot. Just stay open, okay? Just stay open. Why can't you do that? Man, everything is spectacular about this. You got the LSM launch, you got the dolly, and then that big drop, and you got the, spectacular, and then you got wave turn. You got a whole bunch of elements, great coaster moves, super smooth. Although you were a little rough, I'm hoping with the new track that you're better. And then here we go into the quad down, right? All right, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I said quad down. All right, coming in at number 8, Fury 325, the best of the Gigas, back from its season-ending injury. Okay, it was only like a month and a half, but I'm glad that you got your cracks fixed and we can ride you again. Looking forward to it, planning a trip down there. Man, this is lightning fast. This is 2 steps up from Millennium Force as far as how smooth it is. It's an adventure just like that is. It's got some great moments. It's got some air time. Man, front row ride. Second row ride, good. I like the front of the train on this one better because you get a little bit more airtime. The treble clef turnaround, the duck under the bridge, man, great ride. Glad you're back open. All right, keeping with the B&M tradition here, number 7, Diamondback at Kings Island. Man, this is spectacular. I don't usually ride a train in the middle, but on this one, you get sustained floater airtime for long periods of time. I've never experienced anything like this. It is great. I love the splashdown at the end. Man, just a phenomenally smooth, fast, great airtime ride. Number 7, okay. Now, if you walk right across the path, you got my number 6 as well. So number 7 and number 6 right across from each other. This one, 6, Mystic Timbers. This is spectacular. I love the drop. The drop is super steep, especially in the back row. Woo! Ride it in the back row, I tell you. Man, this thing is great. It is low to the ground. It is smooth. It is fast. It is just out of control. Spectacular. Oh, man. I could marathon this all day, and I have. Oh, what a great ride. And then you got the Shed. So this one ranks a little bit higher because it does have a lot of theming. You're in the woods. I'm sure this is great at night. I haven't had the chance to do that. Smoothness, theming, the weight on a weekday, not very much. So yeah, that's why it ranks so high. Coming in at number 5 is Intimidator 305. Yes, this thing is intense. I just rode it 3 days ago. It is spectacular. The lift hill alone is great because it just starts and you're going and it doesn't slow down. And you think it's going to, but it doesn't. Man, this thing pulls a lot of G's. It is intense. It has got whippy turns. It is spectacular. You have earned your spot in my top 5. Yes, great coaster. The fact that you can gray out on this like every time, oh man, that just adds to it. It's intense. I've done 2 re-rides, but after that, I've got to go back in line and take a breather. This thing is spectacular on so many levels. All right, moving on to number 4. Woohoo! We're at Holiday World. This is the Voyage. I waited a long time to get to ride this thing, and I did it 10 times in one day. It was spectacular. This thing is great on so many levels. It's got the speed, it's got the whippiness, it's got some great moves. But really, it's just super long. When you hit the mid-course brake run, you're like, is this thing over? And you're like, no, it's just halfway. Great use. It is a hybrid coaster, so that's interesting. Even though you look at it and say it's a wood, but you know, wood and steel support. That's a hybrid. A lot of great airtime, a lot of great maneuvers. You got some tunnels. That triple down after the mid-course, that is phenomenal. The spaghetti bowl turnaround, great as well. There's one move in there where I just love it. Gets me out of my seat every time. Some great banking on your turns. Man, this thing really crushed it. This coaster is going to be around for a very long time, and I want to ride it again very, very soon. Hey, we're still going. We're still going. We're still going. How are we still going? This thing goes on forever. Coming into my surprise at number 3 is Ghost Rider. Now this is kind of a trick up. I was surprised that Ghost Rider would make it up, but it is great. Intense. It's got that wow factor. When I rode it, no weight. It's very, very smooth, much smoother after that retracking. The theming is great. I love how Knott's themes everything. Man, this is everything a wooden coaster should be. It's got to be on your bucket list. If not, I think it's crazy. One of my favorite moments is the collateral 360 at the end of the ride. Man, that is spectacular. Hey, you got to go ride this. Get it on your bucket list. Go out today and ride it, okay? It's open like all year. Now coming in here at number 2 is Airy Force 1. Man, this thing is spectacular. If you haven't gotten down to Fun Spot America, you need to make plans to do that right now. Stop the video and start making those plans, okay? You need to do this. That Raven Trust Dive, the airtime moment right here. Yes, you do have long enough to play it. Rock, paper, scissors. I've done it multiple times. The Outer Bank turn, man, this thing is phenomenal at every point. It took every element of an RMC that was great and put them back to back to back to back. It is great. It is violent. It's got moves. It will take your breath away. Get down there. Ride this thing today. It is phenomenal. Now, before we get to number one, take a second to like, share, and subscribe. We're going to give you the honorable mentions. All right, Apocalypse. This is great. Everything a wooden coaster should be again. It falls at number 21 on my list. Smooth, great, a lot of great moves. I love the station flyby when you are waiting in line. You hear that shake and come through. Man, that is phenomenal. I think an unlikely one here is Fahrenheit over at Hershey Park. Broke my wife on roller coasters, and she just won't ride roller coasters. It was just too intense for her. And sad to see my roller coaster partner go. Moving on. Griffin at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I love this coaster. It's probably the only reason I would come back. Really not a big fan of the park for some reason, but Griffin is spectacular. Man, you are a one-trick pony, and you do that trick so well. Man, when they dangle your feet over the edge there, just takes your breath away. Front, middle, back row, it doesn't matter. This thing is phenomenal. All right, my only RMC single rail that I've been on, Wonder Woman, Flight of Courage, or Lasso of something, or whatever. I think you come in at number 25 for me, so you're barely missing this here. And, man, it is great. All-around coaster, good speed, good everything. Steel Curtain at Kennywood. I'm a Steelers fan. I got to ride this thing 5 times in a row. It was magnificent. You got inversions all over the place. You got that zero-G stall over the midway. Man, phenomenal. You are great. Theming was out of this world. Now, the one that's going to make everybody scratch their heads is Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance is number 28 for me. Yes, barely in the top 30. All right, the reason for it is simply the wait. It's too long. Every time I rode this thing, it was at least 2 hours, and it broke down once, if not twice, while I was in line. And that's why you go all the way to the bottom of the list for wait time, okay? You fix that, maybe it'll rank higher, but this park is so busy all the time. This is a great coaster. It's probably the best. So what is my number one? Yes, the one, the only, the Twisted Timbers. One of 2 roller coasters I've been on that has a barrel roll drop. This thing is phenomenal. I love that drop. I love all the ejector moments. I love those 3 ejector hills, front, middle, back. It doesn't matter. You get ejected from this thing. I was telling my son, it's like a bucking bronco that doesn't want you on it. Man, this thing every moment tries to kick you off, and it is just intense. It is spectacular. I've been on it 100 times. It's worth it. So my absolute favorite moment on it is the Outer Bank turnaround. Man, that gets me every time. I've been on this thing 100 times, and it still gets me. Then you go right into that zero-G barrel roll. Phenomenal. You are the greatest coaster. All right, hey, thanks for making it to the end. Yeah, can you believe Steel Vengeance isn't even in my top 25? Whew, it's number 28. All right, well, please take a second to like, share, and subscribe, and leave your comments down below as to how much you hate my ranking and how much my scientific nerdiness is just not your style, okay? So, thank you for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.